Hi there. Today we will be discussing one of my favorite slice of life, and generally just one of my favorite animes ever, Azumanga Daioh. This is another one of the first anime that I had ever seen, and right away I could tell that it was going to be a classic, even though it was my first time watching it. Azumanga Daioh is one of those shows that really defines the genre that it's in, and when it comes to slice of life anime, it's the best in my eyes. Azumanga Daioh, the animation, aired in the spring of 2002 and was brought to life by Studio JC staff, which are responsible for many popular and classic anime productions in Japan all the way since 1986. With too many shows to list off, honestly, regardless, odds are you've probably seen at least one of their shows, their most popular being Toradora and the second season of One Punch Man. When looking at the character designs of this anime, Azumanga Daioh, it may look familiar to you even if you've never even seen or heard of the anime before, and that's because the original creation, the manga, was originally made by the legendary Azuma Kiyohiko, who is also responsible for the very popular manga Yatsuba, which began publishing in 2003 and is still ongoing to this day at the time of this video 20 years later. If you've been around on the internet for a while, then you've probably seen art of Yatsuba hanging around various message boards. And this time, upon revisiting Azumanga Daioh, I finally read the source material for the anime, which is the manga. There are actually two different versions. The original, which was first started publication in 1999 and lasted up until 2002, and it pretty much finished right before the anime started. And then there's another version, which is a 10-year anniversary re-release that came out in 2009. It came with updated art, and it's the version that I chose to read through. Though the re-release is very faithful to the original, and I believe it only adds maybe one or two extra pages all in all. But there's not too much of a difference between the two versions. Azumanga Daioh is about Chiyo Miyahama, who begins her high school career as one of the strangest students in her freshman class, a tiny 10-year-old academic prodigy with a fondness for plush dolls and homemade cooking. But her homeroom teacher, Yukari, is the kind of person who would hijack a student's bike to avoid being late to class. So, strange is a relative word when it comes to this show. And in the case of Azumanga Daioh, there certainly isn't a shortage of peculiar girls in Yukari Sensei's homeroom class. Accompanying Chiyo are students like Tomo Takano, an energetic tomboy with more enthusiasm than brains, Koyomi Mizuhara, or just Yomi. She's Tomo's best friend whose temper has a fuse shorter than Chiyo's, and Sakaki, a tall, athletic beauty whose intimidating looks hide a gentle personality and a painful obsession with cats. In addition, there's transfer student Ayuma Kazuga, or Asaka, which is my favorite character. She's a girl who has her head stuck in the clouds, basically the definition of head empty, no thought, just, good vibes. And also there's Kagura, who is a competitive tomboy who is always competing with the oblivious Sakaki for the glory of the best athlete in the school. And together, this lovable group of girls experience the ups and downs of school life. There are many adventures filled with constant laughter, surreal absurdity, and occasionally even touching commentary on the bittersweet, temporal nature of high school. This series also includes such complex narratives such as finding the cure for hiccups, or asking the important questions in life, like if Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how does one even pick something that's already been pickled? Doesn't the pickling process come after the picking? But regardless, as mentioned before, this series is purely a slice of life and relies mostly on its humor for entertainment. But as we all know, comedy is subjective, and this series might not be funny to everyone. But if you're a fan of very dry humor and puns, or just looking for a comfy show to put on, you will definitely find this anime right up your alley. Upon first discovering the show, I initially watched the dub, and I really enjoyed it, so when I decided to rewatch it again, I naturally returned to it. the cast is honestly just hilarious and really has a certain charm that kind of reminds me of like a 4Kids TV dub, but in a good way. But sadly, there are some issues in terms of translation from the original source material, and it's found both in the manga and anime because it just some of the jokes or puns they only really make sense in the Japanese language or in that culture. So, but those moments honestly are few and far between in my experience, and the show can still be found enjoyable. And when reading the manga for the first time this time around, I was surprised to see that it's pretty much exactly like the anime that I'd grown to love. In most cases, I found that normally when an anime is adapted from a manga, there's a lot cut, whether it's storylines or even just characters, to try to make up for the runtime and fit it all into the show. But in Azumanga Daioh's case, with the manga being only like 3 volumes and the anime being around 26, it actually turned out to be an almost one-to-one recreation of the manga, with the anime just even adding in like more concepts to truly help flesh out and bring this colorful cast of characters alive. But it's not just any manga, it's Azumanga Daioh. This was my first manga that I have read to only utilize a 4-panel style structure to tell its short stories, which in Japan is referred to a style called as Dengeki Daioh. It's very reminiscent of comics found in Sunday newspapers here in the US, so it was very familiar to me. But this format of the manga, I feel it uses a really loose like kind of storyboard element or kind of style to it, and it really blends to the anime and does a really good job. The anime does a great job of just like intertwining these short stories found in the manga into a coherent series of events. They all just kind of take place in the same day to make a full episode, and that's kind of the crutch or the way that this series kind of plans out its days, following all these girls through their journey through high school. But yeah, this series really highlights why I love the slice of life genre and is my all-time favorite genre when it comes to anime. It just really drives home the mentality that life is about enjoying the little things, and there's always time to have a laugh with friends. But upon revisiting the series, I was able to really reconnect with my past feelings when first watching the anime, and it really brought me back to like a sense of carelessness before bills and before the general unpleasantness brought on by being an adult, aware of everyday current issues and politics and whatnot. And yeah, even if the slice of life genre or even anime in general isn't really your thing, I'd still recommend this show to anyone. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I guarantee, like, if you give it a chance, you will fall in love with its cute and silly characters. I really have this series to thank for helping with my fascination for anime grow. Needless to say, like, after I finished this anime the first time, I really started watching any and every anime I could find, just delving deeper and deeper into the different series. And yeah, I was very happy and very pleased to revisit this series. It's one of my all-time favorites. And whether it's the ending to the manga or the anime, admittedly, I shed a couple tears at the end. It's very bittersweet. It's a perfect send-off after the characters' journeys through the high school, and it's paced very well. You get to really grow with the characters. They have a lot of ongoing gags that you'll get to learn. The ending though, just when they during their graduation, it really conveys a great message of lasting bonds, between people and friends that we make, and that even though we all eventually go our separate ways, the memories of those relationships will always be with us for the rest of our lives. When looking back, I will forever cherish this anime and its characters, and I hope everyone can share the love I have for this show and its silly and unforgettable moments. But yeah, please check it out if you can find the time, and if you have any, prior history with the anime or manga, or want to check it out, or just even enjoyed the video, I'd love to hear any comments or thoughts that you guys have. So yeah, thanks for your time, and take it easy.
Hello there, every meow! ¿Cómo estás? Bien, gracias.
Oh my God!
There are some times when I wish I were a bird.
Wait, what you saying things like that for?
My daughter's flying to America.
But if you're a bird...
I am not a bird. Can you not see that I am a cat? If I were not, what would you say I am?
Hold on, I know. You look like that American guy. You know, like Bill Clinton.
Oh.
Oh no! I'm so sorry!
Are you the real cat? The true cat? I have a cat's tongue and hate hot food. But what of you, oh cat?
Oh! I got a cat's tongue too!
Then I shall yank that tongue right out of your head there!
What?